Hello and good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's not a social production. That's why you're joining us. You're joining me, and we're joining together. Brothers, brethren, and sistren in arms, in legs, in hips, brethren and sistren in genitals, in genitalia. Hello. If you just joined us today, you just saw me just burst through the window and appear right in front of you in the middle of the podcast, the location, the compound, the facilities, the headquarters, the studio, apartment, but also studio. Nonetheless, thank you for joining me. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, if you like, to follow me there. Where else can you find these videos? If you're just joining us today, on YouTube, subscribe if you like. And if you don't, subscribe anyway. It helps relieve abdominal pain. What else? Patreon. That one, you can check that one out too. It does exist. If you like to contribute in any shape or form and watch this little snowball gather more snow, and snow here is representative of money, and money equals power and resources, and that means doubling the size of the studio. Apartment, building, complex, headquarters. Thank you for joining me. Wherever you're tuning in from, welcome to me familiars, my whiteys, my niggas, my yellows, my reds, my purple dicks, my pink pusses, the one, you know what I'm talking about, and everybody's pink in the puss. So that's like literally everybody. Wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Toronto, Canada, Ontario, down south in the United States of America, further down south, Mexico, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, Senegal, Zimbabwe, Cote d'Ivoire, Ireland, Finland, the Finnish people, the Scandinavian, Icelandic people, Portugal, Egypt, all the stats, Uzbek stats. You get it all around the world. Whether you're wet, whether you're dry, whether you're floating in mid-air. Thank you once again for joining us today, and it is December the 17th. Let's get a sip of this bad boy right here. Your mom's pussy is the most dangerous place on planet Earth. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm Rob Sadri, your host. So stay away from your mom's pussy, unless you don't want to. Oh, I bet he's just saying that. I bet it's not the most dangerous place on planet Earth. Well, go inside of it and see what happens. So, without further ado, today we're just gonna have a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot of topics we're going to be talking about is perhaps. Well, we'll just get into it. We're always having fun around here, so it doesn't matter. I hope you're all alive and doing well. Let's get a sip of this bad boy. Let's start right off the top with Birmingham, England, United Kingdom. The Birmingham car attack. That's right. Mohammed Sufi. I don't know the fella. I don't know anybody, but you know, nonetheless, there was a nightclub, and then the people went inside the club, and then there was music, good music, or at least the people there that attended liked the music, as is with every nightclub. So, picture, you know, disco balls, smoke, lasers, pew, 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 lasers, music. They love that music there. It's not I don't know what kind of music they were listening to. You know, club music or music in general. And then people got outside of the club and it was fine. And inside the club was fine. Outside the club, not so much. So you stay inside the club unless you want to get out. And then what happened outside the club? That's right, a brawl broke out in Birmingham, United Kingdom, the Englands. And then this guy, Mohammed Sufi, apparently got in his Mercedes-Benz. Typical Mercedes-Benz of Mohammed Sufi. What did he do? He ran through the crowd. I don't know what happened to the people, but some people may have been injured. I hope nobody got hurt seriously. But this is the point here. This is why I want to talk to you guys about this particular one, because I think we've seen this. I'm not thrilled about the event, of course, in any shape or form. I'm not gonna, doesn't get you any points. We've seen this, it's been done. It's just a replica of former, whether you want to call it terror attacks, whether you want to call it just, whatever you want to call it. It's just, yeah, we've seen it before. And, I do want to put a little bit of we do have enough information in this day and age. This isn't, we're post Criss Angel and David Blaine. So by now we should all have gathered enough info to know that we should work on the cores. People should take a little bit of, responsibility. Work on your cores. I've seen you because you've seen David Blaine. I saw him growing up. I'm sure many of you have seen him grow up. Like he's growing up, and you've probably grown up too. Some of you are just being born right now. You're clueless. You're clueless, baby, alpha baby. Generation beta probably is being born right. Doesn't matter. Really youngins, they don't know what's going on. But people who have seen David Blaine and Criss Angel and many others have come before them and will come after them. You've seen them. They get on the ground and they get a piece of wood, and then maybe they'll stick a couple of nails through it and have a truck go over them. And then all you notice is just essentially they're teaching you breathing techniques, and working on your core. Sit-ups, planks, push-ups, maybe a little bit of dips, core exercise, queefing, controlled queefing. Any bitch could get out there and just queef off, willy-nilly queef. But if you master the art of controlling your queefs, then that gives you that core that can withstand potential, run-ins with the car. And this isn't just for a taxi, this is for accidents as well. So if you are like, how do I protect myself in circumstances like this? Again, reference David Blaine, reference maybe Criss Angel. I forget. I'm pretty sure they both did it at one point. These are the individuals that stick out in my mind right now. They had people run them over with a car, I think. Both of them did, maybe, I'm not sure. I'm assuming they both did. Nonetheless, I'm pretty sure David Blaine did. Did Criss Angel levitated? Did Blaine levitate? This isn't about magic. This is about practical use of what you've got available to you. So, and like, I don't know how to start. Get a piece of plywood. Grab a hammer and a nail. Extremely cheap stuff to buy. All right, for like 10, 15 bucks, a little bit of wood, hammer it down with the nails. Get somebody, a family friend or a family member or a relative or an acquaintance or even a stranger. Get somebody to run you over with their car. Slowly, of course, don't do it, don't do it at high speed. Slowly, and little, rev it up, start with like 5K an hour or 5 miles an hour for the people in the UK or rather the US. Then go up to like, 10 miles an hour, then do 20, then do 30. And then this is, of course, I'm not saying this is going to be achieved overnight, but if you just work on it, you see somebody, God forbid, this sort of thing happens near you. You're like, what do I do? Get on the ground. You worked on your breathing technique / queefing. You've done your sit-ups. You've had, your toddler get in the car of your minivan and run you over several times. Put it in reverse. Try different angles, because you never know. Hit it from different angles. Go on a downhill, do uphill, over a speed bump, with a stop sign, anywhere really, in a parking lot, You're like, I don't even know if I'm gonna start with a car. Get a fella to run you over with a skateboard or a bike. A bike is a good start. Start with a bike, actually. That's probably, bike, skateboards, motorcycles, move your way up to car, minivan, truck with a Hemi engine, 18-wheeler, airplane, naval carrier. Have a naval carrier run over your core. And I'm telling you right now, you put in the time, 5-10 years, again, I hope you never, but it's preparing for what's out there potentially. You don't have to worry about it. It doesn't happen too often, but we've seen it. For creativity, we're not going to give it any points in terms of for humanity. Also negative points for humanity. You suck. Mercedes was the sponsor, I suppose, because he did drive a Mercedes. So that's on the back end. I'm not in charge of that stuff. But everybody's making bank. The point is that protect your core. Protect your core. Birmingham car attack. No bueno. No bueno. But again, things that we could do as individuals. Work on the core. That's what I've always said from the early days. Work on one of the pillars of this podcast is working on your core. Good luck getting back in the club. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna be like, what do you do after that? Hey, these guys want to get inside the club. These saw what they did. Had to run him over. So I get back in the club now. Excuse me. I want to get back to the music. Sorry, I just had to run a few people over. What else is going on in and around the world? Lots of exciting events. Exciting, thrilling, a little bit of murder, a little bit of murder, a little bit of, it's the holiday season. It's never the holidays without a little bit of murder. Am I right, everybody? Leave a comment if you like. I believe Science Inc. is the name of the tech company. They came up with a human washing machine. Now, I'm a fan of this. I've probably at one point or another had similar thoughts because we've all looked at a washing machine for clothes and said, you know what, why couldn't a human fit in that? And they made it. They made a larger one. It's basically a washing machine for humans. Now it is a little bit pricey, $383,000, but if we can get the price down on this bad boy, and they're only making 50 of these right now, 50 of these. And I want everybody to get them right now. If you're rich out there, if you've got a few milli, live life, and then live life live life in a way that's sometimes not accessible to the mass majority of people, so that at least we could see get a washing machine. I want to see prominent people, just because this is beautiful. So you climb inside this thing. It's like a bubble essentially. It closes in on you. It starts filling in with water. It's basically like 2 jacuzzis essentially, and the water accumulates beneath you. You get soaked, you get wet. It's nice and comfortable, and then this added features. It's like visuals. They put visual, calming, soothing effects. But I'm pretty sure you can change the video. That's just they put look at this nature scene. Look at these flowers. Look at this stream of water. Look at the deer. You could put your own videos, whatever's calming for you. And then you add a little bit of music, again, whatever music you like, and it's really comfortable. The only things I do want to see, because again, in the near future, when you see this, when it's advertised, they're going to be showing people wearing bathing suits, which I'd like to say remove the bathing suits if you're going to be advertising this. All right, go in nude. And also another feature, I'm not paying $383,000 if I can't take a shit in this human washing machine, because you're paying a lot right now. Down the line, it should be cheaper, but right now, I just want to say I hope it has a filter mechanism for the shits for $383,000. Again, I'm getting visuals, music, maybe it even maybe there's scents that they can put in, infuse it with a kind of, have gases with nice smelling scents come in the chamber. It's basically it's not a gas chamber. It's a little bit of it could be because it's humidity in there if the water's hot. It's like a moist, wet gas. It's luxury gas chambers essentially. You combine that with the suicide pods. I mean, we can take this to the top together right now. You add the feature of the suicide pod to the human washing machine, add a little bit of heroin to that, I think we just solved humanity. I think that's essentially it. When you're 97 years old, you go and buy yourself one of these washing machines, right? You take your last dump, you listen to your favorite music, you watch your favorite movie, hot water is, up to your tits, little bit of heroin, little bit of suicide pod action, and I'm telling you right now, that you just fucking, you're in and then you're out. You're in and you're out in the most comfortable manner. I think we could combine these features together. Yeah, it's just the preliminary stages at this point. And again, I personally love my life. I just always want to mention anytime you talk about these things, always want to mention, I love life. In no shape or form am I advocating for suicide for myself or anybody else. Love life. Never have contemplated it. Don't even ever admit that. Don't even ever admit that. And I haven't. I'm just saying. So you hear things, you see things. Times are weird. Just protect yourselves. Protect yourself. So, but I'm just saying for those people, because in Canada we got MAID, medical assisted in death. People are doing it. It's going up and it's increasing in terms of percentages. More and more people every year. So at least do it the nice way. Don't just climb in a dry, suicide pod. Fucking raw dogging suicide pods. Do it with a combo. Save a little scratch. Get the human washing machine / suicide pod / a little last dose of heroin. I've never even done heroin, but I'm just saying if you're gonna do it's nice. Or it's just a supplement to the housing problem That's globally impacting a lot of people. I mean, if you got homeless, again, the prices need to be lowered, because for $383,000, you might as well buy them a house and just fill up the entire house with water and give them that heroin. But the prices, if they're lowered, we can actually probably solve homelessness. Imagine you saw a homeless on the, in a bubble outside in the middle of a park, just fucking, soaking, doing a little bit of drugs, but he's in his pod at least. It's nice. It's good music. It's a movie going on inside. He's minding his own business. There's no loose needles. All the needles are inside with him. There's no loose. Your child's not going to be stepping on loose needles, because the needles are inside the pod. That could be the tagline for the commercial. The needles stay inside the pod. So yeah, you got to be able to take a shit in those. I'm not buying it if there's no. Again, lower the prices. For $1,500 a pop, I could see these things flying off the large shelves because they're spacious. But imagine just giant shelves. Like take your Costco, multiply that space by 10x, walk in, pick your pot, get out, get your receipt and heroin on the way out, and get your ass out and enjoy yourselves. It's beautiful. This thing's great. I like it. I'm here for it. Get one. Can some rich folks do a podcast with, just do it and get inside one of those human washing machines and do a podcast? If you got the means, please let us enjoy the tech that's not available to everybody right now. I don't have that kind of money right now. If I was a billionaire or a rich millionaire or I'd do it. But I don't. So I could fill up this entire unit with water, which, believe you me, not the first time I've thought about it, but again, it's like, you're sharing a space with different people. You can't. So, when I get my own space somewhere down, I'll fill it up with water. So if you can, fill up your space with water and film yourself. It was Wednesday. It was a cold, cold day. It's actually a nice day. I felt like saying that. And let's take a trip to Bondi Beach in Australia. Shout out to my Australians. Australians. That's some Australians, right? That's some serious Australians right there. Beautiful Bondi Beach. Never been. Some tragic events went down, and that's horrible. Boo. Again, as I said in the beginning of today's pod, there's gonna be a little bit of murder, and today it was a murder-filled week. Past few days filled with murder and death a little bit, and so things that we need to tackle together. Yeah, Bondi Beach. Apparently, shooting went down. It was a happy Hanukkah, by the way. Happy Hanukkah. People were celebrating, my Jewish brethren and sisters. Shalom, Shabbat, L'chaim, Mazel, Bar Mitzvah, circumcision, Rabbi, Dreidel. And that's as much Hebrew as I know for now, but it'll get there. It'll get there. So it was a celebration of the first day of Hanukkah, or Hanukkah is how we say in Yiddish. Chanukah. I gotta get more phlegm. To say these words correctly. Celebrating the first day of Hanukkah. Chanukah. First day, that's right. People were celebrating at this beach, at Bondi Beach. I'm glad somebody else said the term Bondi, because I was just reading it before I saw a couple of clips of people covering the news from there. I didn't know how to pronounce it. I might have said Bondi, because you don't know, but it makes sense with the Australians. I like to keep my A silent when I'm saying Australia. It's just Australians, straight up Australians. Yeah, the A is a little bit. You don't need it. Australians out there doing Australian things, tackling large spiders, fighting kangaroos, skipping over alligators, typical Australian activities. What else? Let's go. Yeah, so there was a shooting on the first day of Hanukkah. It was a couple of Muslims, it's father and son, and because there was a lot of, I hope I'm gonna remember all the details of the many events that occurred over the past few days. A lot of death, a lot of murder, a lot of, so I believe it was 2 individuals, if I'm not mistaken. Father and son duo went and killed people, injured people, shot people. And again, Bondi Beach, it happened at Bondi, not Bondi Beach. Don't It's very important. Bondi, Bondi, Bondi. Like, it's like, you gotta remember, like, it's like Hyundai. Took my Hyundai, went to Bondi Beach, Sinai, Mount Sinai. Again, a little bit related. Not really, but it is somewhat related, I suppose. The point is, yeah, Bondi Beach, not Bondi or Bundy. What if it was, yeah, again, I'm glad somebody said it, because maybe I would have read it as Bundy. Like Dundee, but yeah, it's Bondi. It's Bondi. Let's not focus on the pronunciation of the beach. So it's Bondi Beach. The Muslim brother and son and father went and shot people. That's not good. That's not good at all. So that's like but good news. Shot by a Muslim. This is plural. Good news. Saved by a Muslim, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not Ahmed al-Amin, and that's a lot of Muslim right there. It's just like, it's like Muhammad. That's a lot of, it's like the same name twice, with just like Al in the middle. How do you get is it short for Alfonso, Alexander, Alonzo, Ahmed, Alonzo, Ahmed, Alexander, doesn't matter. The point is that good news, bad news, obviously terrible that this occurred, during the holiday seasons. And it's fucking, it's, I never got to participate in World War II, because I would have liked to save a few Jews. Never had that happen. I can't turn back time. I think was it Cher that said that? Or no, she contemplated turning back. What did she say? She asking herself if, could she do it now? Time travel. Cher was always contemplating time travel. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that yes, I wasn't there for World War II, so I couldn't help Jews, but I can now, and I'm willing to do that now. But again, I haven't seen any of this. It's a rise in anti-Semitism. They say that every time you look at the news, they say that. In real life, everybody's getting along for the most part, and really good. Like, we do a really good job for most of the time. If you don't turn on your phone, or then just pay any sort of, everything's great. But according to news sources, the media, there's always a rise in anti-Semitism. Never seen it get lowered. Could we have 1 year where it's a decrease in anti-Semitism? Like, we've had less anti-Semitism this year. Try something, again, going back to giving points for creativity. Not impressed with the overall way things roll out sometimes. Got a loose hair here. Someone's tickling my elbow. The point is that that's anti-Semitic, the event. But the good news is, again, saved by a Muslim. So you're like, when will bad Muslim and then good Muslim. So you're, again, it's a little bit of mixed feelings, a little bit of, it creates because you're like, look, you can't, it sucks. You can't, in this, if it was just attacked by Muslims and then not, helped by somebody else, or not helped at all, then it would have been like, but it was a Muslim guy who saved it, because he went there, he rushed the fellow with the shotgun and took his shotgun or gun. I don't know what kind of gun he had, but he took him. Ahmed saved the hero. He should get some sort of prize, some sort of, he should get something. I personally wouldn't, but I'm just saying for him. Depends. If people want to give something, they should give something. Not that people, what would I have done during World War II? I don't know. I would probably kill Nazis with the fucking boys, with the boys. Kill the Nazis, then, I would have liked to, lower myself from the ceiling, then kill a Nazi by lowering myself from a ceiling and, fucking catching him off guard. I would have showed up into town dressed as a Nazi, get him drunk, do murder for the not like kill the Nazis as dressed up as one of them. Fucking just watch them get in like relationships and like low key know that they picked the wrong partner. And yeah, I might have not killed a bunch of them, but then I would have seen them go through life with having picked the wrong partner. And oh, what a terrible life decision. And then now they're both miserable in that relationship. And I would have probably gotten a little bit of joy knowing that I know that they're not the right people for each other. And then they have a few kids, and he's off getting drunk, she's out there probably becoming a lesbian, the kids are, God knows what's happening to them. And then because they're Nazis, I would have been like low key, didn't kill these ones, but fucking happy that their family is fucking crumbling. Ugh. And that in a sense is like, it's a slower death. If anything, that's probably even worse than kill. I would have probably done that more, because I would have wanted to take my time. So, I didn't get to do that during World War II, but now here today, if, I don't believe, because I see most people, again, being very good to each other, kind, considerate, mostly beautiful souls out there. On a day-to-day, I'm sure you see the same thing, but then the news is different. News world reality is different than real life reality. So, yeah, but if I do see anybody of the Jewish faith, or anybody of, and Christian, even Muslims who I don't agree with the faith or the religion, but if they need any help, if I could, fucking people's elbow, I'll fucking, I'll spit a loogie if somebody's attacking, I'll spit a loogie in their eye. And, they say get the eyes first, and that's what I will, spit a loogie right in their eye, dude. And I'll probably be like, I might be smoking, so do I flick my cigarette? But I do enjoy my smoke, so I don't want to, I'll smoke. If you just give me a few seconds, I'll like try to finish as much of the ciggy as I can, and then like the remainder, I'll fucking like flick it in their direction, hopefully like again catch them in the other eye. So loogie in one eye, last of a ziggy in the other eye, and that's you're fucking free to go wherever you are. Again, Jewish, Muslim, Christian. So anti-semantics is going on. Be aware of that. Lower it by fucking just doing whatever you were doing up until now, because that you were doing good, and that's. But beautiful thing is, again, more people could have gotten hurt, but they didn't because of an act of kindness and courage and bravery. So, and that's, and so that goes to show us that you can't put all people in one group and just paint them with one general, paintbrush that you bought from a general store that's generally not even, focused on arts and crafts. It's just like one of these like generic paintbrushes that's, probably made in China. Leaves a streak when you fucking do the thing, and gotta go over it 3-4 times just to get a smooth surface. And you can't really paint properly with those brushes. Anyway, the point is that it's never good to use a general random paintbrush to, do paintings. And yeah, these are times that we should, again, it sucks that these things, but the masses are coming together these special days, and holding one another tight, near and dear, and up and high, and uplifting one another. And that's what community, and aren't we all a big global community? Just one happy family, just one giant, and we're all Jewish at the end of the day, and we're all of it. We're all of it. There's no, that's, yeah. I have a difficult time expressing certain things at times when like if I get caught up. And then somebody puts me on the spot real quick and asks a real deep question, I might not have it, what am I even trying to say? It's hard to say, certain things, because they're deep questions. Like I had a chick the other day on the street. She approached me, beautiful, blonde, blue eyes, big tits. She asked me random on the street, are you religious? I was walking back from my daily walk. And immediately, because I get caught off guard with, such, random, weird. Heavy question. So I said no immediately. I said, and I'm not right, and I can't, because I've seen you've seen religious people, and then you look at your but then again the alternative is the spiritual label, which is also not fun to call yourself, but that's kind of like where I I don't know, what am I even trying to say? We're all one essentially, because Abrahamic religion started off with Judaism, then Christianity, and they're all iterations of one another. It stems from the same thing. It's just so. In that sense, we're all the same, and even Judaism was based on other prior religions, and that's So we're all one. Essentially, that's the whole thing. So I am Jewish and also Christian. Definitely not Muslim. Definitely not Muslim, because that's just, I can't. But essentially, we're all one. Essentially, we're all one. The point is, it's a time of coming together, staying grounded, loving one another, and feeding more love into the ether as we do see sometimes heinous acts of whatever that is, And then sometimes you do, and simultaneously while I say this, I'm very skeptical of everything. So I'm watching everything unraveling before our eyes, just as many as you guys and gals out there are seeing things unravel before your eyes. And I question everything. I question myself. Fucking interrogate myself all day, every day. And I never know anything. I don't know anything. That's one of the things, again, as I've said this from the get-go, I'll say it again. I don't know anything, don't know many things, and that's where I like to stand. Don't know many things. I did see a bunch of people getting interviewed after the attack, which seemed a little bit, whenever I do see large global events, I always question it. I don't, and I'm not saying I ever know the answer. I'm not saying but I always do question it. Whatever it is, whether it's 9/11, whether it's whatever you want to, whatever it is, Trump's shooting, whatever it is. I always question it. I don't know, because I'm not there. First person, I see these things, then you see the people being interviewed. Sometimes you're like, man, this guy, so, he's so calm, collected, and he's giving an interview right after the shooting, and cool, calm, collected. There's a couple that were being interviewed, and at the end of the interview, the guy said the show must go on as he helped rescue some people or save some people, or again, it's just weird things. My mind always, I do always have to always ask any event that happens, Charlie Kirk, anybody really large global events that happen. I do always have to ask myself, could it be a false flag? Could it be a false flag? I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm just saying I put that forward because I remain skeptical of many things, many things. And it's hard to say which ones are and which ones aren't. Sometimes you do have legitimate events that are actually real. And then sometimes, there are things like false flags. There are things like crises actors. So it's just interesting. But again, we rise above that. The general public rises above that, and they do it without having to do anything. They just do it on a daily basis. And then it's times that we must show, what a beautiful noise once again in the background. More drilling. I believe we're drilling for oil this time. I believe they just found a oil deposit, a massive oil deposit. This entire building is becoming millionaires overnight. It's black gold. Gonna be rich. Filthy rich, oil tycoon rich. Yeah, it's always great to see wonderful people always coming together, uplifting one another. Great example of, sometimes we need reminders of how to do things properly too. It's, we need one another. We're all pieces of the puzzle. No one man or woman has all the answers, but sometimes you do see master classes take place right before your eyes. And this particular one is a master class in a show, a demonstration of emotional intelligence, and just being a human, just being a good, solid human. Chuck Schumer was just about to give a little, he was about to do a speech and talk to some people. I saw the video, and he was going to mention the attack at Bondi Beach. And right before he goes into it, he says he's going to talk about it. He's going to discuss it. But go Bills. He says this. He says, go Bills. Right? He says, go Bills, right before he goes into. So again, it's just nice to know that they're good, solid humans with priorities, because that's the thing. A lot of people might see this and, think that like a government official is about to, maybe give a talk and discuss a tragedy that just unfolded. Maybe, what would they say? It's easy to just jump right into it, but saying go Bills first and foremost, let me not forget, as I always say, go Bills, go. Because footy ball, the old tossing around the old pigskin, that's, people, or whatever it is that you're into, you just, talking about tragedy is not, you don't want to fucking just, again, go in there all dry, raw dogging tragedy. So go Bills, go. Okay. Right there, sports. It's the most important thing. And then you get into the tragedy that you want to discuss. So that's, again, remember that. So again, high emotional intelligence, a masterclass display of emotional intelligence, timing, knowing how to connect with people, and getting your fucking priorities straight. These are, again, masterclass. Chuck Schumer. Go Bills, go. It's incredible. It's incredible that we see, any time, if there's any, and again, this doesn't need to be a large thing. You can apply this to your own life. Have a family member or a close friend die in the family. Right before you get to talking to people, you just want to, throw in some sports stats, throw in something, check out this song I just heard, whatever you're into. Look at this beautiful mosaic that I found on the corner of the street at the pawn shop. Just mention something that you're into right before you get into, because you don't want to, again, raw dogging. Tragedy is not fun. Just sports is a lot of people, a lot of people relate to sports. So, and again, this is football is relatable to North America. Of course, if you're in Europe, Asia, right before you go into talking about tragedy, throw in soccer, cricket, just to fucking lube it up. Again, it takes high emotional intelligence to do that on the whim. So thank you, Chuck Schumer, once again. What else is going on? I believe the Japanese are trying to fight dementia with robotics and AI. Because I've heard about this. I read an article. The older people in Japan are getting older. There's not many young people replacing them, or coming up as fast as they're going out. So it's hard to get help, hard to get good help. If you know what I mean, it's hard to get good help. So they're relying on robots and AI to assist with people with dementia. Sometimes I saw a video, they were at one point putting him in cafes to, give him a job. And I forget the name of the cafe, ironically, or, it was a long name. You might not get everything you want at this cafe. I think that was the name of the cafe because they got dementia. So you put an order, you might get what you ordered, you might not. But they hire these people, fucking demented. But I figure we should put these people to use, not just inside cafes where they may or may not bring your order forward, but in places where it matters. Because just because you're like 9,700,000 years old doesn't mean that you can't be utilized. It's just got to be, know your strengths. What is your strength? We label them with dementia, forgetfulness, memory problems. What fields require you to have memory problems? Think about that for a second. I did, and you must have too. Intelligence and also crime. You know what I'm talking about? If you want to do crime, don't give the crime, task of crime, to somebody with a good memory, because they're going to do it and they're going to remember every detail. Give it to a demented, Give them a quick task. Run them down through these steps, the multiple steps that they're going to take. Repeat. They'll go and do the task, come out of the task. Most likely they're going to forget. Why? Dementia. It's built in. What other field, again, requires you to forget some things? Or at least not talk about them? Intelligence. And I don't know much about it, but it seems like, you do certain things and you never talk about it. So that's that. And then who do you want not talking about? People with dementia. Give them tasks, whatever it is. If you're CIA, MI5, the Five Eyes, anywhere really, global intelligence service, if you're in Mossad, if you are in the Korean CIA, if you're in, whatever, hire these guys. They're old, an old lady, again, for crime. Who would suspect an old lady with dementia for crime? That's like the best criminal ever. And who would suspect an old geezer with dementia to do intelligence work? No one, hence is why you should use them. Cafes are good, robots are good, but they could also be utilized in intelligence and in crime. So fucking get busy, and also pump out some jizz into some Japanese badge, if you know what I'm talking, and also probably some other places too. So that's Japanese dementia. Once again, we're going to pivot. We're going to skirt another bunch of murder. Again, I said this in the beginning of the show. A lot of events went down during the past few days. The past weekend, that was a little bit, But again, we're going to tackle them together. Brown University, another shooting at a university went down. By the way, speaking of shootings, I do want to say that, well, maybe we'll just, never mind. We'll stick to what we have right now. I was just going to say, events like this should never be a reason to take away your guns, by the way. Australia, Canada, Europe, again, these are people with more guns. You need more people having access to more guns. If everybody could protect themselves, and so, which brings us to this point again, Brown University shooting. Caught a suspect and released him because that was not right, but then Kash Patel jumped in and said, we got the suspect, and this does not bode well for Kash Patel. Again, he's under stress. I get it. Not an easy job being head of the FBI. People are not happy about that because I believe he did the same thing with Charlie Kirk's, alleged murderer. He calls it early. People don't like it. So again, I've said this in the, past. I'll say it again, not worth firing anybody over the holidays. Let's everybody just keep cool, calm, and collected. Keep your job. Don't jump the gun. These are my personal notes, of course. And if anybody needs to be giving you personal notes, it's the guy in Toronto living in a studio complex, studio apartment, studio, a legitimate studio. That's right. So, yeah. If it's just my opinion and I'm putting it forward, I would say that, don't jump the gun. But then also it is nice to see somebody come in and say, yes, we got somebody. It feels like, we're getting on top of, we're doing something. At least he's catching something. It's better to catch, and who amongst us hasn't said that in a lifetime? It's better to catch something than if not to ever caught anything. I mean, just to feel the burn in your loins and wonder whether you should go and get tested or not. It means you're alive, so it's better to have caught something. And it's probably a false alarm anyway, but it's good to get it checked out. And that means you, my friend, lived. And it just makes you look closer at things. Like, sometimes you're like, is this been here all the time? And then sometimes you're like, I never really looked at it that closely. So you go and pull your pants down in front of a doctor and he's got another fucking pre-med student doctor that's not even a real doctor stand there and look at your fucking cock, and you haven't had the time to maybe groom yourself properly, and you were kind of freaked out about an incident, and they ask you a few questions and then you answer and it turns out it's nothing, it's all good. It's just sometimes you need to get it checked. It's but then so there's just like two dudes, one's a doctor, the other one's not a doctor. He's looking at your balls at fucking not even noon yet, and it's just, you didn't have time to give it a tug. It's still a decent size, but you know what I mean. If there was going to be more than one audience member, at least you're going to fucking give it a, not to say that you're doing it to impress anybody or anything, but I mean, like, half the year here it's cold in Canada, so you never know when it might not be presentable. So I'm just saying, it's better to have said you got something than to not say it, and then it's good to check. And then if it's nothing, it's nothing. You let it go, and we did that. And were we nervous? For like 24 hours? A little bit, maybe even longer, because, it takes a few days just to contemplate, is it even worth going to the doctor? The point is, ladies and gentlemen, so he calls it early, but then what if he never called it? What if he caught it? Would you have been happy if he actually, or the FBI helped in catching the guy and they didn't call, or they called it late? Maybe they caught him, but they never called it, 75 hours later, 87 hours later, they caught him, but they never called it. Would you have liked that? So he calls it early. Maybe don't call it early, don't call it too late. Call it somewhere in the middle. Was it the method of calling? Was it one of those old school phones from, a telephone booth from the 80s? Did he call it from there? Was it a 90s cell phone? Was it an 80s cell phone, a brick-sized cell phone? Did he call it from there? We don't like the fact that he called early. Did he leave a message? Maybe it went to voicemail. Maybe the voicemail box was full. Did he leave a message? Is there a callback number? The point is that he called it, and people didn't like that. So notes again from a guy in a studio apartment. Don't call it too early, but then sometimes, and then go after. And so the point is that guy is still on the loose, I think, unless they caught him by now. And again, things are unraveling fast, ladies and gentlemen. So things, as I upload this video today on the, December 17th, they might have already caught him by this time. I don't until as long as I'm aware of the situation, they haven't. So that guy, that sucks. For university students, again, carry guns. Why even go to university? Seriously, at this point, Unless you really, really want to become like a, doctor, lawyers, AI is replacing everybody, guys. Think of new jobs. Universities, I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. And it is a good experience. To go socialize, it is a nice experience. That aspect of it is always nice. Ladies and gentlemen. What else is going on? Somebody came in and said that if I could assist them with tackling a question that they want to, or a thought that they had that they want to bring up to their wife, but they don't know how to, and they ask for assistance. And I'm glad you did. Thank you for reaching out. My wife's areolas are getting enlarged and they're becoming darker as she's now getting more pregnant as we talk. She's been pregnant for some time, and her pregnancy has resulted in her nipples, her areolas getting larger and darker and just like more rubbery, meatier than they used to be. And I'm not quite comfortable with this change. How do I bring this topic up to my wife? Thank you for bringing that question forward. You're not alone. So your bitch, her areolas are getting thicker, huh? It's getting darker too, and you're not comfortable with this. Listen, pal, you didn't sign up for this shit from day. They should tell. This should come with a warning. Should let you know. No, they don't mention it. They just brush it under the rug, and the next thing you know, adequately sized nipple, nice bright pink. All of a sudden, 10 shades darker, more rubbery, thicker, and it's like, whose fucking nipple is this? Not the nipple I knew. And things will never be the same sometimes. So yeah, you just tell her, just straight up tell her, be like, hey, bitch, I love you, but this isn't gonna fly. You're gonna have to work on this and get it back to what I bought initially, all right? This is not the product that I paid for. Hello, like, can I talk to the manager here? So call somebody in, anyone. Call them and have a talk, and yeah, get it, because they gotta at least know that you're not just gonna fucking, that's crazy. That is crazy, because you can't, as a guy, come in with one cock and then have somebody get pregnant, all of a sudden your cock changes, it gets, more rubbery, turns darker, and whatever, changes size. Although that wouldn't be such a bad thing. I mean, if it got bigger, I don't care for the color of them. If it got bigger and more rubbery, I mean, it's not too shabs, quite frankly. But we're not that lucky, are we? But nonetheless, it's a surprise. It catches people off guard. It's not nice. So yeah, just tell her, hey, bitch, quit being a little whore. Quit changing up your nips and quit blaming this whole pregnancy thing, all right? On the revert, let's go back and do that. And just at least they know. And even if they can't do it, at least they know. So at least you get it off your chest, because it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, man. You're not alone out there. It'll probably revert back mostly. It's not ever going to be the same. I don't know, to be honest with you. Probably won't be this. I mean, come on. You're going to have that kid sucking on that nip way more than you are for at least a year or two. I don't know how long people breastfeed, but like at least a year, right? And that thing's going to be just, it's going to look like a war zone. All right. It's going to be like, imagine yourself being FEMA attending to like some sort of, horrible, mass destruction sort of, it's gonna be damaged. It's gonna be war torn. It's gonna be like Gaza. You're dealing with, before it was like Paris, now it's like Gaza or Gaza or, other places that are going through things. So the point is that, ask yourself whether or not you're completely okay with it. If you're not, then you can get a divorce easily. That's fucking, take that to any court and just present your case. I think that's, do you need to take your court? Do you need to go, like, take your thing, because people go to court to get married, then I suppose you do got to take it to court to get divorced. Yeah, so reason to divorce, right? Darkened, thickened areolas, which are making the side of my take pictures of the side of your lips that, in the dry seasons have ripped. You got fucking little tiny rips on the side of your lips. It's not fun. Somebody should know about this. if you're having to get up in the middle of the night, or take frequent trips to the bathroom to urinate at any time of the day, and you're like, man, how do I lower this? How do I lessen the number of times I have to take a trip to the bathroom? I thought about a great idea. We've got the tools available to us. We no longer need to actually suffer like fucking Neanderthals. Take some crazy glue and put it over your cock on the tip of your dick hole. Cover it up with crazy glue, and you're good to go, man. You don't need to piss for as long as you leave that in there, right on the tip of your pee hole, on the tip of your cock. Let it dry though. Let it fucking dry. I would suggest you get like not full hard, but like don't be like full flaccid either. Somewhere in between. Like get a half chub, pour the crazy glue on top of your dick hole. That way there's no pee coming out at all. So you're good to go. You can fucking go at least 12, 24 hours, 36, 48 probably, 48, 72 hours probably. And I thought about this. I'm like, here's at least, this is maybe men don't get, multiple orgasms, women do, and that's fucking, they kill us there. I swear to God. But this is at least you need to use less glue to cover your pee hole. And then females, likewise, if you want to not have to go to the bathroom or deal with your period for that matter, if you know your periods, as soon as you start spotting, what I recommend is you get that crazy glue and just pour it all over your vag, right? Cover the entire puss. Cover it, let it dry, and then do another layer. And if you really want to make sure nothing's coming through, because the blood is a lot of it, it's just do 3 coats, just let it dry, and you're good to go. No more periods. And at the 7th day, whenever it's done, just peel it off and let it just flood out at once, instead of having, again, do I put a tampon? Did I put a tampon? Did I turn the tampon off when I went out the apartment? Is the tampon on? Oh my God, is the tampon gonna catch on fire? Is the baby gonna be all right? All the questions that run through our minds. It's crazy. So just crazy glue your vag, you'll be good. And again, you're like, what about shits? Could this be applied to? And it absolutely could. Both males, females, sex genders could utilize this to alleviate having to go to the bathroom so frequently. Simply dump half the bottle of crazy glue on your asshole. Shut it down. And then eat as much as you like, right? And instead of like, gotta have to go to the bathroom, hours lost, relationships broken apart due to the times that men and women have had to excuse themselves and leave to go to the bathrooms, deals that have not fallen through because of people having to excuse themselves and once again leave the meeting room to go drop a deuce. Never again, lest we forget. Let us not forget. Unless you got like dementia, in which case then again, fucking crime and intelligence. Put it to good use. It's hard to discipline your kids these days. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't have children, but I do hear it's just like, between the phones and the tablets and the technology and the lack of the going outside and the whole culture of, parenting, teacher-parent relationships, teacher relationships with students, all these, it's hard to be, it's hard. Can't really hit your kids. I hear this. You can't hit your kids. People debate. Some people say, just a quick little spanking, just a little, what if they do something. And but I thought about this. I'm like, okay, because there are pros and cons of, I guess, to having a little bit of, a sense of authority when you're growing up. Maybe a little bit of sometimes, if need be, a heavy hand. Sometimes not heavy hands, and But again, I'm not a parent, but I've been a child, and I still inside of me, my inner child is still very much alive, fucking, flipping you the bird and probably peeing on your legs. The point is, and he enjoys all of it. The point is, you can't beat your child, at least not in public, like behind closed doors. You could probably do a little bit of again, I don't know. Maybe you could, but if you can, and I thought about that, I'm like, what if parents, and maybe you don't want to, and that's, again, there's a lot of, texts that suggest that you probably shouldn't, but I thought about this. I'm like, okay, how do we at least show them that it exists in the world without actually hitting them? And that's when I thought to myself, haha, eureka. Eureka. And that's not just she works hard, Eureka. She works hard. That's her stage name, Eureka. Imported from God knows where, but nonetheless, the point is that I say to myself, Eureka. Eureka of a fine smell, and I like to stick my head right in between your legs, Eureka. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that if pussy smells like fish, what does fish pussy smell like? Does fish puss smell like humans? That's the Eureka moment. No, the point is, like, you can't hit your kids, or at least not in public. There's a lot of society fucking pointing fingers at you and like all that. But you can hit a midget. You can hit a midget. At least a professional midget. This is what I thought. You false flag your child. You false flag your child. We have created a service where you can hire our professional trained adult, full-grown adult with a full-blown midget, grown adult midget. Have the midget dressed as a child, walk with the adult hand in hand in a park in front of your kid who's having maybe, some sort of behavioral issues, or have that parent, the fake parent, the actor really, hit that kid who's not a kid, who's an actor, who's a midget actor, right? Hit him, smack him right in the face, or give him a spanking, right? Yeah. And you could put that on display in front of your child and be like, see Stevie, see what exists out there in the world, and maybe that'll be like kind of like a learned lesson. At least we don't do that. And maybe if you were a good kid, Santa would probably bring you extra toys this year. Look at that. The menacing child being beaten by his even more menacing father. Look at that. And then think about your actions, son or daughter, and they have consequences. Things that parents talk about with their kids. So you beat a midget, essentially, is what I'm telling you. Hire a midget. Hire one of ours. We have these midgets and full-grown adults just waiting. At any time of day or night, you call our services, there will be a midget with an adult male coming up and just walking so cash in front of you and your child and beating the crap out of that midget and setting an example and showing your child what is possible out there and that they should be thankful for the things that they have, so that they're not some, snot-nosed, privileged, spoiled little brat. So you could have balance, and that's not with all kids, of course, but sometimes there's instances where there needs to be a little bit of probably discipline. But what do I know? I don't know anything. It's just a show for your entertainment. Midget with an adult duo for your child's safety and well-being. That's we haven't thought about a good name yet, but nonetheless, the adult midget duo. We don't have a good name for that product, but the market is calling for it. And perhaps some product like this would have come in handy. Segue, pivot, skirt, related topics somewhat. Yeah, maybe a product like this would have come in handy when Rob Reiner and his wife, rest in peace, Michele Reiner, were just murdered by their son, Nick Reiner. So perhaps I don't know anything about the Reiner family. I know of Rob Reiner, having grown up and watched many of the things that he's created or was a part of, and I enjoyed all those things. So that sucks that he was killed by his son, and he was killed with his wife too. But then again, it's that fucking midget with the father smacking him in the face. Maybe that would have come in handy. So yeah, I don't know. Immediately, very quickly, right after the horrible event that unfolded, people just jumped out and said, "Oh, we always knew. He always had a problem, that Nick. We knew. You look at him, you could tell by looking at him. Why don't you say something then? All these people that you could just tell by looking at him. And why don't you tell? Why aren't you told? Why didn't know? We always, but I didn't want to say anything. Well, maybe say something. Maybe say something. If you or don't say it. Don't say it after. So you can tell. You can tell. Just look at him. You could. But he's been around for 32 years. A lot of people looked at him. Allegedly, a lot of people could have told. Nobody told, but they could tell. They could tell, but they didn't. But a lot of people could. By just looking at a person, they could tell, but they didn't. And that's awful convenient. But nonetheless, he slit his parents' throat. That's crazy. Cray. God. Rich, beautiful parents, affluent parents. I don't know what went behind closed doors, as I don't know, but, from sure he's had his problems, apparently, allegedly he had his problems with alcohol addiction. Actually, I don't know if it was alcohol. Just like kind of threw that in. I don't know. Addiction. He was apparently homeless at one point or another, which again, if he saw a midget getting beat by an older fella, and he would have known at least that's an option. And then he'd realize he's got nice parents that don't beat him and that give him a lot of things. Probably. Again, I don't know what behind closed doors. I don't know his relationship with his family members. Or rest in peace to the Reiners. That sucks. That's tragic. That's absolutely sucks. Yeah. Again, I don't know what happened behind the scenes in anyone's household. I don't know. Did he have a rough childhood? Did he get, maybe he got severely beaten? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know Rob Reiner and his wife. They look like, the products that they put out there, the movies, Sleepless in Seattle, A Few Good Men, All in the Family, all of it, great stuff, great stuff, and many more. Spinal Tap, great movies, great productions. So it doesn't, I don't know him. I didn't know him, of course. So rest in peace. Condolences to the family, to the community. Things that are a little sus. I will say this. I noticed this. Of course, he's being charged right now with murder, but also allegedly they attended a Conan O'Brien party just maybe a night ago or a couple of nights ago, a few nights before that. I don't know, very close to the murder. They attended a party at Conan O'Brien's house, and I know we've caught the murder or alleged murder. We don't know until it's fine. Like, we do know, but until the gavel hits and fully, you got to go through the steps in law and but I'm just saying, let's not just hastily jump over potential other suspects, as there may be more. Conan O'Brien recently allegedly lost his parents, both of them. Who else just recently lost both their parents? Could it be that Conan O'Brien was somehow behind all of this? Think about it. Wins the prize for the Mark Twain lookalike contest, kills his parents or loses them. Sometime after, Nick Reiner, along with his parents, Rob and Michele Reiner, attends a Conan O'Brien party, and his parents end up dead. So, questions. Yeah, and then there was simultaneously, I did see videos of people, streamers outside of the Reiner home, getting in arguments with the police. And again, it's instances that we need to see better. Where the police don't understand the importance of the times that we live in and the fact that streaming trumps everything, okay? To move out of the way to the law enforcement officers, as much as you're appreciated. If there's streamers that are filming events, horrible events that have deeply impacted a family and a community. If there's somebody making a lot of competition out there, okay? You gotta stream, you gotta be there, you gotta be on top of your shit. And yeah, so the cops are like, there's a guy sitting in a car. There's people outside fighting to, get a better, closer look at what's going on. And it may seem like they're interfering with a murder. But at the end of the day, it's a world where you got to take care of yourself. So people need to be a little bit understanding. And there was a guy outside as well. So there's streamers beefing with each other. There's streamers beefing with the cops outside of a house where there was just murder. There's a guy sitting in his car blasting music, right? And that's the thing. And the cops have to, politely ask the gentleman to lower the volume of his music. And they don't understand that, it's all a vibe, man. You're killing the fucking vibe here, all right? I understand you got to do a job, but everybody's got to do a job. And this streamer or this person out there with their phone filming has got to do his thing. And sometimes you need to fucking blast loud music just as somebody got murdered right there. So you need to do that. And it's just having emotional intelligence a little bit goes a long way. So to the cops, again, you got to do your thing, respect it, we love it, but again, understand that in this day and age, if you're not, everybody's got bills to pay, everybody's got things to do, all right? And yeah, if somebody wants to fucking crank out some loud ass music, try to see it from their, they're just having a day. They're just trying to set a vibe. We're streaming, there's a vibe to it, there's a whole feeling, there's a mood, we're in a car, we're streaming, murder, good music, don't fucking kill the vibe. There's enough murder in this neighborhood already, don't kill the vibe here, all right? Check on the murder instead of checking on the vibes here. Quit killing the vibes, quit murder, excuse me, can we call some other cops here to come, grab this cop over here who's killing the mood, So a little bit of just, God, yeah. So I don't know what goes on anywhere really, but from what we know, it's terrible. Fucking both of them just slit their throats, huh? That's, ouch, it's not fun. Was there any sign of like resistance? Did they fight? Did any of that, because you can't do them both at the same time unless you get a really long, then it wouldn't be at night. I don't know. Like, how do you, did one of them fight back? Was there any, sign of, struggle of any kind? Or like, cause you cut one person's throat and then, that's just spewing blood. And then now you gotta be like, hold still to the other one. And that's fucking, all of it is just, but this is a one-off, of course. This one caught everybody off guard. Affluent children are often some of the most well-behaved and well-adjusted humans out there. You're wondering, could this happen to me out there if I'm affluent and rich and famous? Absolutely, absolutely. This could. If you have children and you're affluent and or rich in any field, this could easily happen to you. Have your head on a swivel if you got, rich kids as a result of you being Mr. Fancy Pants. So have your head on a swivel. You never know when one of these little rugrats could lose it, and then everybody's coming out and saying, "Oh, we always kind of knew." So be careful. I'd probably sleep with one eye open if I'm not, but if I were a Hollywood parent, I'd sleep with one eye open. Even if you're not in Hollywood, if you're just rich and famous, be cautious of your kids. Hit them if you can. Hire a midget and an adult actor at least to display a little bit of, parenting where you can't. Other than that, you're like, how could I protect myself against all of it? The root of it all could be summed to a lot of money and just spoiling children. In which case, if you're like, how do I stop this? Patreon.com/RobSadri is where you can get rid of, dump your headaches, aka monies, a lot of it in my Patreon, and go to your kids and be like, love daddy for daddy. Say that to your wife as well. Say that to your wife. Like, I think it's time we say goodbye to the material aspects of our lives and really just love each other for who we are. Say that with a straight face to your wife. No, in all seriousness, the holidays could get anybody rattled up. So really pick any argument to kill your parents or your relatives. It doesn't have to be parents, of course. It could be friends, family members. If you are getting into any sort of arguments, not seeing eye to eye with anybody, it's that time of year. Just fucking, because how do you really come, it's easy to just, a lot of people don't want to, at least you, like, that's the ultimate standing on your shit, right? So stand on your shit, fight it to the death, let arguments take over your life, and yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, what else is going on? What else indeed? That was a lot. We did cover a lot thus far. What else did I want to talk about? Covered Bondi Beach. Definitely covered the Rob Reiner attack. I did also find that Michele Reiner was spelled with one L, which is quite weird in and of itself. Most Michelles are spelled with two L's. This one was spelled with one. That could in fact be aggravating enough to a child. Enough years seeing other Michelles spelled with two L's, your mom's name spelled with one L. You could all see how easily one could lose their mind and, just cut their parents' throat over that. What else? What else? Let's just get into it. Let's just get right into it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about. It's always good to take a minute. I remember now. I just need a few seconds. Just a lot of stuff today. I believe China just came out. China just came out with a 6-arm robot. And I don't know how to feel about this. First, I had to check just to see if it's legit or not. Apparently, it is a robot company, a tech company in China just made a 6-arm robot. I'm not too happy about this, just because, as we all know, first it was our rub and tugs. Then they got taken over, or at least a lot of competition came in from the triad, coming in and taking over our rub and tugs. And yeah, a healthy amount of competition doesn't hurt anyone, but also, next thing you know, decades go by and mass majority of rub and tugs may be run by the triad. And I don't even know if that's true or not. But nonetheless, competition is competition, so you got to point it out, at least work on yourself. So there's that. You have the triad rub and tugs who are competing with our rub and tugs. Then they come and toss this robot with 6 arms. And now we're gonna have, I guess, the rub and tugs infiltrated with robots with 6 arms, Asian, Chinese robots from China coming in and taking our jobs at rub and tugs. When will we stop and say nay? When will we say our rub and tugs matter and our rub and tugs are great? Again, will be. It's just, because 6 arms, you don't have 6 cocks, but they could potentially fill the rooms with 6 dudes, and this robot is jerking, milking fellas, and or fingering, because it could finger also the ladies. 6 male or females getting finger blasted and or jerked off, and then there's, what are we gonna have? It's a war zone. There's jizz flying over the massage beds, all around this. And yeah, it's much easier to just have them go through the day, and then at the end of the day, instead of taking a hose and just spraying them, if it was a human, it'd be like, oh, the water's too cold, oh, the water's too hot, you're burning myself. You could just fucking let this robot go in there with the 6 arms, do the old jerky jerk, 12-hour shift, hose it down, doesn't give a fuck about the temperature of the water, no complaints, no pay, right? No pay. And there you go. And then that was it. At one point or another, people are like, oh man, they're gonna be at the corner of wherever street sucking cock for money. The next thing that's not even an option. So watch out for these 6-armed robots, man. I'm telling you right now, with the AI, with a nice fake skin, with a little bit of a wig, who knows? So in the meantime, support your local rub and tugs. In the meantime, grassroots shit, get out there. We're all in it together. Staying grounded is often difficult, and I thought to myself, well, how could people in this modern day and age stay grounded? And everybody's heard of going out in nature and touching a tree, taking your shoes off, letting your feet touch the grass, the ground. Just be within nature. That always helps. To a large degree, it does. To a large degree, getting some vitamin D, a little bit of movement in your body, that all helps a lot. But how could you stay a little bit more, even more grounded? I came up with an idea that I'd like you to utilize out there, free of charge. You could call this pro bono. We've never been neg bono. Always pro bono. Yeah. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, if you like to stay grounded, take your shoes off, go into a little forest area, go into hiking grounds on a trail, find a little discreet location, take a little beach shovel, a little tiny beach shovel. You could do it with your bare hands too. You don't necessarily need a beach shovel. You know, the beach shovel that you use as a child to dig up a little bit of a hole at the beach, just to be like, look, I'm digging a hole, ma. That one. Dig a little hole, remove your pants, squat down, take a dump in the middle of nature, bury it with the dirt, of course, and then walk away. And that, my friends, is one of the most exhilarating thrills that you'll ever experience, free of charge. Get in touch with nature, stay grounded, #humble, and move forward. Get on with your business. You know what I'm talking about? So do that, increasing your, just sense of belonging to Mother Nature goes, it goes a long way in terms of just, helping you rewire your brain, helping you become a better version of yourself. So just take a shit in nature is essentially what I'm telling you. And that'll, again, male, female, as long as you're a full-grown adult, you can take advantage of this free activity. And it's a thrill. I encourage everybody out there to do it today. Drop whatever you're doing right now, go into nature and take a dump. I urge you to do this right now. You're like, I've got more important things to do, like taking care of my kids and attending to my wife and business. All right, fucking don't take a dump in nature. Next thing you know, fucking murdering your family. Mexican lawmakers in Mexico City were doing lawmaker shit. They were talking, they were debating, in their, is it a Congress? Is it I don't know, in their place of business. Mexican lawmakers, they were on TV and then they were discussing things. A brawl broke out. A man was in the center and then a bunch of women's were around him, and then the women started beefing and they started brawling. They started throwing fists a little bit, pulling, tugging hair, elbows up, fucking tugging hair, pulling hair, elbow. And then there's just one fella being fucking, there's a pylon on a fella, which was kind of, that, it would have been nice. It's nice to experience that. It's nice to have a bunch of ladies just fucking do a pylon. So that fella was lucky in a sense, but the brawl broke out and the females started pulling hair. And this made me think about, like, when you're fighting and pulling hair, how do you train for this? How do you prepare yourselves for this? People aren't pulling on their hair as much as they should, because you never know. If you're a lot of people like train for different stuff, but like pulling on hair is a whole different. So pull on your hair a little bit. If you're out there, you're like, I'm doing everything I can, but you haven't been pulling on your hair, because you never know. Especially if you're female specifically. If you want to protect her, pull on your own hair. You're like, I don't know if that's enough pulling. I really want to, or I've been pulling on my hair, but I don't feel growth. I've kind of plateaued. There's great ways you can get things to kind of pull on your hair to give you that like sense of somebody pulling on your hair. Put your hair in a ponytail, get out of the car, put your hair in between the car door and the car frame, and then slam the car door right on top of your hair. And then that'll like, pull on your hair. Get a vacuum cleaner, like a nice heavy duty, industrial vacuum cleaner, and then put your hair in that vacuum cleaner and just let it suck the hair out of your scalp. Get a monkey, a monkey that's like hitting puberty and is fucking in heat and just on the edge of ripping your face off, but not quite there yet, and get them to like tug on your hair, and that's giving you a lot of time. Practicing people pulling on your hair. Lube up your hair. Put a lot of essential oils in your hair so that's slippery when you do get into, like, if somebody breaks out into a pulling of the hair match. Grease your hair up before you go, because that'll be difficult to pull on your hair with all that grease in your hair. It's not easy. So people will slip. I've seen many people slip and just die instantly. Slip, fall, and die. and they thought they're gonna have a nice, hair pulling sesh, but they didn't. They died. You could put razors in your hair, so if somebody goes to grab your hair and they're bleeding, profusely bleeding, and then they die because they're what? Razors in your hair. So do that. Wear a wig. So if somebody goes to pull on your hair, once again, they grab your wig, they pull on it, they fall down and what? Hurt themselves, injure themselves, go on to live their lives thinking that it was just a minor injury, but 6 months down the line, they actually have a stroke because it caused internal bleeding. That's right, and that is, again, that's fucking, you wait that one out, but it'll pay off in like 6 months. Just a little tiny bump to the head. It's nothing. Fucking dead. So these are some methods where we can utilize together to protect ourselves, but also, be ready for pulling of the hair in any shape or form. Stay safe out there. Stay safe, but that's gave me wrestling vibes, to be honest with you, and I like anything, wrestling related. So it's nice. Nice to see that. A lot of people oftentimes ask, how could I spice up my love life a little bit? And all these people that ask this question often have the answer, but they just don't want to say it. If you want to spice up your love life, one of the spiciest things you could do in the bedroom, and everybody knows this, I don't know why nobody admits this, but everybody loves extra feet. Extra feet is what everybody wants. Not even bodies, just extra feet. But this is often hard to acquire, and it's hard to tell your partner that, sweetheart, I love the vag, love the titties, but if there were just like, 2 to 3 more feet when we're making love under the covers, if it was just, one with like a pedicure, one with long toenails, just fucking, just if somebody, when you're riding me, and when you got one of your tits in my mouth and you're riding my cock, you're riding me, and my cock is deep inside you, pulsating inside your vag, and I feel your juices flowing down your thighs, and I'm sucking on your tits. If I could just have a couple of extra toes come in there, kind of jab me in the torso, or just scratch my retina, if I could, just because oftentimes people orgasm, but they don't actually get there 100%. I'm telling you right now, if you just had access to some extra feet, just a slight cut on the retina, on the right retina of your eye when you're about to come, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this service was never available to the public until now. Get extra feet in your bedroom by calling 1-800-764-764-764 and get extra feet any time of the day, any night of the week, any day of the month, any month of the year, any year of the decade, any decade of the century. You get the point. Anywhere you call us, we'll be there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people arriving and just getting on the ground, getting on their back and putting their feet right in front of you and your wife, in between you, rubbing against you, putting it up your nostrils. What's that? Is that you, sweetheart? No, it's a stranger. It's a beautiful stranger, and now their pinky toe is up your ass, and that's lovely. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy that service, of course, and that's a beautiful way to celebrate lovemaking and spice things up. Now, of course, it is the holiday season, and it's maybe the budget could be tight for some people, and if it is, and you're like, could I get myself and other people some items for Christmas, the holiday, for Hanukkah, or anything else that I'm celebrating? I don't want to break the bank. Budget-friendly gifts. Budget-friendly gifts. Some of the best gifts are the gifts that are free and that you don't spend money on. So if you're like, what do I get my girlfriend's parents? What do I get them? I don't want to break the bank. We're trying to save up and maybe get a car or a cat or a house or what. So you're saving. Money is, got to be a little bit frugal. I'm telling you right now, you don't even need to get people, physical gifts at a certain age, beyond a certain, when you're sitting down and having that beautiful Christmas dinner or Hanukkah meal, when you're sitting, just reach down when you're sitting beside them around the dinner table. Just jerk them off. Just give your father-in-law, just fucking go to town, 10, 15 minutes, And, you know, you don't need to go break the bank. Same thing. Your mother-in-law, you got two hands, right? One hand jerking the old father-in-law off, the other one working the mother-in-law's clit, right there, free of charge, right there, you know? Oh, my cousin, I don't know what to get my cousin. Do I ask them what they want, or do I just, or you, and that's the thing, you buy them gifts, it's like they use it gets tossed in the closet, it gets lost somewhere. It's like memories. Memories are the most important thing. Get them a hooker. Nobody ever complained about you gifting them a hooker. So these are some gifts that won't necessarily break the bank and that'll leave lasting memories, unlike, you know, whatever gizmo or gadget you tossed at them last Christmas and you've never even seen them use it. At least this one, you know, will make them feel good, and you know that they used it. You don't want to get them like a sweatshirt where they don't wear it, because it's really hard to tell what's that person's style. You might even know them, but it's just, you know, shopping is something very personal. A quick handy or a little finger blasting or a prostitute, that's something that's practical. So save your money, go with something a little bit more practical, and at the end of the day, it's the thought that counts. It's that hoe over there, all right? And if you're out there wondering to yourself, you know, there's been plenty of times where I can recall emergencies where I needed a last minute dildo and I couldn't get one because there was none. And that emergency spiraled out of hand and turned into multiple emergencies. In fact, it turned into a national, borderline international disaster, a crisis, you could say. And all I wanted to utilize or to remedy this crisis was a last minute dildo, but I didn't have access to that, and it sucks. Until now, delivering dildos, a dildo delivery service, ladies and gentlemen, it's now available if you'd like to get your dildo any time of day, anywhere around the world, 24/7, 365, anywhere. You call 1-877-647-6464 and get that dildo. I'm talking, oh no, what time is it? It's our anniversary. Oh, I forgot again. You're busy out there grinding, hustling and grinding. You forgot. What do you get her? Ring, ring. I need an emergency dildo right there. Boom. Discreet, unless you like it to be not discreet. On time, unless you like it to be a little bit early or late. Oh, my boss is having a giant ass meeting and we're about to just do a whole shakedown of the company, and he asked me to bring dildos, but I forgot to pick up the dildos at the local dildo factory. What am I gonna do? Lose my job, lose my house, lose my wife? No, you call emergency delivery for dildos, and that's where you get your dildo anywhere you like, all right? So take advantage. You come out of a bar, 10 goons about to jump your ass. You're like, oh no, I don't have any weapons on me. If I only had a dildo on my body so I could fight off these goons. Call the emergency dildo delivery services, and boom, right there, 15 minutes or less. You just need to occupy them for 15 minutes or less. Next thing you know, you're fucking right there, back off. Neon dildos, glow in the dark dildos. Translucent dildos, dildos that extend, vibrating dildos, silent dildos, extremely loud dildos, tiny miniature dildos for decorative purposes only, extremely large dildos for enhancing your flexibility, humble average sized dildos. Nothing crazy, but they do the job. Reliable. And that, my friends, brings us to today's conclusion. Thank you for being with me once again. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe if you like. And check out patreon.com/RobSadger. It's there. Until next time. Peace out. Get out of here.